Welcome to our webinar, Emerging Technology Implementation in Digital Financial Services. We are going to wait about 1 minute, 60 seconds to start because we have a few people joining at this time. And so we will be silent for about 1 minute. Thank you. Please note, anybody who's online would like to check out, you do have some handouts to the right in the panel that you can download. Okay, I think we're going to get started. So again, welcome to the webinar, Emerging Technology Implementation in Digital Financial Services. This is getting to be presented by Fahim, developed and presented by Fahim Ali. Just to let you know, these webinars are supported by IFC in partnership with the Swiss government. Phoenix BH Consulting, of which I am one of the directors, is the organization that develops and provides these webinars at no cost to you. So I should also say, I want to say one thing. This is part 2 of a series that we've had with Fahim on digital finance. He has a great deep experience and knowledge with digital finance. The first webinar was held about 3 months ago, if I remember, and we will, in a follow-up email, send the link to you if you are unable to attend that seminar, that webinar. Okay, so just a few logistical items. For any technical issues that you may have, Aida Musovic is handling those. That's her email, and she's also on Skype. It'd probably be best to send her a Skype mail if you have any problems. All participants will be muted so that there won't be any background noises. Also, this webinar is recorded, and the link for the video, include the discussion and also the actual presentation, will be sent within a follow-up email to you. Additionally, as I had mentioned to some of the participants earlier, if you look to the control panel to your right of your computer, you will see a line that says handouts. And if you click on the handouts, there's some handouts, one being the presentation that is in PDF format that you can download. Additionally, there are some other handouts that Fahim provided to us that he thought he would share. Your participation, it is really important. We are leaving some time, probably about 10 minutes, 15 minutes at the end of the presentation for questions. So again, if you look at your control panel and you see the line questions and you click on the arrow, it will present an area for you that you can write your question that will be submitted to us. If previously we had numerous questions to Fahim, and unfortunately we were unable to answer all of them during the session, but Fahim was gracious to answer all the questions, and they were sent out via email in written format. So your question will get answered, I guarantee that. So I'd like to introduce the presenters. Actually, there's one presenter, but Aida and I are also talking a bit. Fahim Ali is very experienced in digital finance and has a background in many areas, but also risk management. He is currently the CFO of Musani. And Musani is a paperless, cashless, and data-driven financial institution located in Kenya. A very fascinating organization, and they are really one of the in the upfront and what is happening in digitalization. And he is the chief risk officer. So we're very excited for him to give this presentation. Also, he gives numerous presentations worldwide. And so we are very lucky to get him today. I and Aida are directors of Finex BH Consulting. I will be a moderator, and Aida is helping with technical issues and the technical part of this today. And I will hand it over to Fahim.
Hello everyone. It's wonderful today to present this session. This will actually provide you the understanding on various issues that emerging technologies and the digitalizations presents to the financial market. The session will cover with the several new areas of emerging digital technologies. We will also discuss the use of technology, getting to know about the components in the financial sectors, financial services. A critical, let's say, factor to consider when selecting technology. It is very important that once we are selecting technology, what kind of vendor it should be and what services it will provide to us. And the product implementation. This product is actually the implementation of your technology in your in-house services or with your customers, and what can be the framework or implementation it should look like. And the data-driven product, it should be how the product will be more on data-driven, the way it will work on the sector. So, so it's just so important, to understand that the digital technologies are increasing, but there's a confusion between too many people that how it is working. Most of the institutions thinks that DFS is actually the banks who are working on the digital financial services, and then they were thinking that, okay, now DFS is going to our telcos or telecommunications. Now it is actually the another, people who are coming in the market, like Amazon, like Libya, like right now we have seen a new currency, or like Bitcoin, or let's say a blockchain, or let's say how it is working and how it will be implemented in my institution. It's the CEOs and the shareholders are confused in that particular area. Now, frankly speaking, they are not understanding that how the DFS will definitely help them and how they can implement these things in their institution. So we will talk more on the DFS, the technologies and the issues, the product development, and how it is actually helping us overall in the market. The DFS is helping us overall in the market, people who have deployed that DFS technology. Aida?
Please turn up your volume if you'd like to hear this video. It's a little low.
I can't hear the sound.
Aida, I'm not hearing the sound. We need to start over. And can you check this sound is up all the way?
Digital transformation opens the door for many opportunities.
Hear it now.
Today, finance is asked to essentially set the course for the years to come. Let's take a closer look at two possible scenarios for the future. We're in the year 2022. Finance as a division has significantly shrunk. In many areas, standardization and automation have taken place. Many processes have been automized efficiently through robotics. Finance consists of a small team of specialists for topics like IFRS, taxes, risk management, compliance, regulation, and financing mechanisms. Processing of financial statements is now fully automated. The operational responsibility for the closing process is now owned by IT. Business decisions are primarily taken based on information derived from operational functions. Marketing and sales, as well as technology, invested early in big data and analytics and are now jointly leading the Center for Analytics. Finance has lost its leading role and is no longer involved in important decision-making. Instead, it focuses on contributing special expertise where needed. The responsibility of planning and forecasting has shifted completely towards operations. Early on, they set up big data-based prediction models within their divisions. The role of finance is limited to planning of financial mechanisms, taxes, as well as currency and consolidation effects. Finance has become a mere center of excellence that is limited to providing highly specialized financial expertise upon request. 2017. Finance missed the opportunity to claim and shape new digital trends and actively build a future vision for themselves. Finance was overrun by digitalization and lost its role of being part of the strategic development of the entire organization. 2017. Finance decided to become a leading pioneer of digitalization. Finance analyzed digital trends for themselves and developed a target and vision for the future. The goal was to act, not react, and develop a common vision. Upon this foundation, new opportunities were identified, and as a result, a newly formed roadmap has been developed to define specific actions for the years to come. An interdisciplinary team coordinates analytical topics and combines deep business competence with technical know-how. Finance was the driver for building the Center for Analytics. Information from various sources are combined in real time. The planning and forecasting process has been automated to the highest degree possible with modern statistical methods and big data. A forecast preparation is done by a push of a button, and finance is able to focus on the development of new insights. From day one, all finance executives have been involved in the development of the target vision. Finance now combines strategic competence with in-depth business know-how. New skills in the area of data modeling and analytics have been built up and used successfully. Finance focuses on cross-functional and interdisciplinary cooperation. 2022. Standard processes have been fully automated. Finance has gained time and capacity to consider and work with analytical-related questions. Finance is the co-pilot in the context of strategic development and appreciated as a business partner for operational functions. Now, it's time to define your future in the digital world.
It is very well said. The goal is to act, not react. The development in the common vision, to develop a common vision. And the new skills of data modeling and the analytics have been built up and used successfully. This is what the digital transformation means. And it is actually a time to define our future in the digital world. I think we have now one poll where we can take your responses that how it will work, the digital transformation. Ida.
Hi, everybody. We are going to launch our first poll question. And the question is, what are the main competitive advantages to the digital financial services? Is it the honor of being the owner of a customer relationship? Is it the staff and manpower, digital IT infrastructure, or use of new technologies? We are going to be launching the poll now, and you will have 5 to 10 seconds to answer your preferred question. Okay, I think we can show the results. Okay, Fahim, do you have any comments?
Yeah, I was actually expecting the same answers. The last two one is actually the higher amount, 29 and 50%. So you see, the digital infrastructure is too important. It's a major competitive advantages of the DFS, and the people who are facing the challenges is actually the IT infrastructure, digital IT infrastructure within their institution, and also within the market and within the industry also. And also, if you see the use of new technology, people is not so familiar with the new technology, and they feel sometimes the challenges on the new technologies. So we also need to understand the new technology before we implement. It is most important that first we need to understand the new technologies and how it will work. So let's discuss in the next slide. Ida, can you bring again to the slides? Yeah. So the key question here is that which we should be asking from ourselves, that what are the technologies which we need to use in DFS deployment, and what influence our decision, to new technologies. So people actually think it is, people are working. So new DFS is technology. Fahim is presenting, or Ida is presenting, Donna is presenting to us. People are talking too much on DFS, so we should also bring the DFS or the new technology in an institution. But you need to ask from yourself that is it because only of the competition or the competitor you want to bring the DFS in your institution? Is it a requirement of your customers? Is a customer's demand? Or is it aligned with your company's mission and mission? It's very important to understand your business strategy first before implementing new technology. Last month, actually, I visited one of the Asia Pacific institutions in Cambodia and Thailand. And some of the institutions have deployed too many systems in their institution. One of the institutions is a big institution, around 400,000 customers they have. And they told me that, Fahim, we have implemented 3 to 4 systems, and now we got the right system. Before we had a wonderful systems, which for us it was wonderful, but it was not working with us. So we have changed the new system, and now we have the system again, as we are also facing the challenges. So it is also a good that you first understand the institutional requirement before you go to the new systems. You will also go how to the render, the vendor's requirement, how we can select the vendor, implementation of the vendor's requirement, and as also the agreements, which is most important. So this is how the new technology will work. Yeah, this is actually we need to understand. This is the main slide of this today's webinar. That what are the technology used in DFS? These are a few things which I have highlighted here, but I will explain to you one by one. So that we can discuss how it is working. So what are the common technologies which are in use? So number one is actually distributed ledger technology. Distributed ledger are commonly referred as a blockchain technology also, which is the most commonly used in actually the data analysis or database technology that allows creation, secure transfers, storage of the information. However, the distributed ledger technology are not centrally controlled actually, with the administration and the financial control from one side. Rather, they are responsible by the administrating and verifying the transaction is the share across the users of the blockchain. And the blockchain is also a big topic to discuss here. And and the blockchain and the Bitcoin, and also right now the new currency came, Libya, which is now coming, will be launched in October. So these are the part of the distributed ledger. Big data analysis. Earlier, big data, whenever we say big data, it's actually the numbers and the numeric, the text and the numerics. So text is what? Fahim, FASWM is the text which I have for a customer, and the numbers, which the customer's ID, like 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever. So, but now it has actually changed. Some of the institutions in Africa, they have changed how to do the client satisfaction survey. How you are doing. If I ask you right now, if I initiate the poll here, that how you are doing the client satisfaction, mostly of you will say paper-based client satisfaction survey. But most of the institutions in Africa, they have actually started with the video of the client satisfaction survey, and the artificial, intelligence, the AI, is actually taking the videos messages and then analyzing the data. In a short, your data should be a customer centric. It should be a customer centric model. It should be a data which should tell you, which should give you the information that what your customer need, rather than you decide that what you want for the customer. And also the big data. There are three main areas are coming, which is Internet of Things, IoT, sorry, and cloud computing and storage, and also the AI, artificial intelligence. So what is Internet of Things? The Internet of Things is actually refers to the numerous connected devices that captures information regarding the movement and your sensitive data analysis. Let me give you the example of how the China's market is working. Most of us actually have deployed the credit scoring, but in China or in Asia Pacific, most of the institutions have deployed how the customer is behaving in the market, how he's behaving in the streets, how is his individual's behavior, and after that behavior, they actually tailored their products, their risk profiling, and the pricing. This is how they are preparing. And this Internet of Things is actually now coming. Once the 5G will come, this will be a huge, a new technology which people will be using, especially in the Western world and in US. US is actually very keen to deploy this Internet of Things. Cloud computing and storage. I think most of you are already aware what is cloud computing. It has the three major modules: is a private, hybrid, and public. So private is actually is a private base you make yourself. Hybrid is someone can also use and they can be used. Public is actually a public base where you can use also the cloud storage services. Like we have um, uh, Google Drives and all that. These are the public drives which you can use. So there are also the categories, which is software as a service, platform as a service, or infrastructure as a service. So the cloud-based services actually provides the cost-effective and relatively easily to scalable on the demand processing and storage capacity for the data. I'm sure you are aware that most of now the government data is also on cloud. So most of the people, the general population's data is on the cloud. There are some pros and cons both on the cloud, but it is actually somehow secure if you have good security tools available for the cloud, like firewalls, antiviruses, so on and so forth. So cloud is actually people are capturing too much on the cloud basis, and they are actually going more on the cloud. Their data is going on the cloud because it is very hard for the the DR sites, physical DR sites, and all that. So most of the institutions are now going on cloud, and the institutions and the regulatory authorities have also the cloud computing regulations in place in most of the countries. AI is a different aspects of the human intelligence, including recognitions, understanding, learning. Maybe you have learned chatbot. If you have heard this term before, chatbot or machine learning. In Africa, if you call some of the call centers, or if you chat with the institutions call center, it's actually not any human person is over there. Is actually the machines who are talking, a robotic person who is talking with you in most of the institutions. In our institutions also, we have, let's say, chat box. Which we have implemented in the WhatsApp, and build it in the WhatsApp. So if you text us, then we will allow you, let's say, to talk directly with the customers, or let's say with the call center person. But it will be more working on the machine learning. If someone have interested to hear more on the chat box, how it is working, I can explain them further on the separate call. But most of the telcos, and also like Safaricom, Orange Money, or MNOs, they are actually have deployed this artificial intelligence, and this is how they are working from the machines learning. The last point is biometric technology. Biometric, once ever we hear this word biometric, is actually we think that is a fingerprint which we need to put somewhere, and then these are the biometric technologies. But no, right now there are many biometric technologies which is changed. It's like most of the institutions have obtained only the thumb and fingerprints on the paper. So these are, let me also ask you, these are actually not working well. On the paper base, whatever the thumbs you have, it cannot be retained. It's just a formality. You obtain the loan application, or you obtain a document, and at the end you say to the customer, please put your thumb here. So it's just a formality. Nothing, it's not the technology. It's just a formality. It's a tick box that okay, you have obtained the biometric technology or biometric of the customer. But biometric technology is working very well in some of the institutions, especially in Africa and also in some of the areas in Western and Asia. It's actually recognizing your face, your voice authentications, your iris, and then how it is secured to your data, to the institution's data. Most of the institutions always fear that their data will be, captured by someone else, or let's say will be hacked by someone else. So these biometric technologies are helping them to secure their data. Yeah. So I think we have jumped. Can you go back, Ida? I think. Yeah, this is fine. This is fine. Yeah, this is fine. Just go next. Yeah. So, as we have discussed earlier, I think this is also a key point that customer activations, most of the institutions are activating their customers through paper-based. They are asking customers to fill the long KYC process, paper-based KYCs, which they are obtaining. Then they are obtaining that information in their systems. There are people sitting in the MIS who are obtaining that information, or loan officer. Then they capture that information in the system, and then afterwards the systems actually do the analysis of data and all that. So if I ask you the same, then you are also doing the same thing, then the same KYC questions which you are doing in the paper test, then maybe it is your requirement. But let me tell you, to increase the customer outreach, you need to be thinking differently. Now people are actually doing the customer activations from push and pull data. The data is available actually everywhere. If you see, it is with the CRB, the credit bureaus, it is with your mobile company, it is with the telcos. It is only the matter how you pull that data. In most of the East African actually countries, they are pulling their data, from the other institutions, like from FSD, or let's say from fintechs, or let's say from telcos. They are pushing the data from there, so the basic KYC details are not required. It's only that customers on board and the data is pushed from there. So it's a quick process or customers activation or bringing customers on board. But if you go to the West Africa, some of the countries, then again you will see that people are actually visiting agents. They go to the agents, and then afterwards they fill the long KYC, and then again it goes to the back to the MNOs, and from MNOs it goes again back to the providers or service providers, whatever the financial institution is. So it is important that we should understand the customers' activations, and it should be a quick process. Distribution is also, how you are distributing your services to your clients. It is because of your agents, which is existing retailers who are distributing the technologies to them, or it is a mobile money adoptions which people are actually working on them, or it is actually somewhere you have adopted your own agents, which is also expensive, and also infrastructure is required too much to build your own agents. In Asia Pacific, if you see, most of the institutions have obtained their own agents. Some of them are successful, some of them have run, but they have closed. Afterwards, they say, no, we don't think so that we should go that route. It's too expensive. The infrastructure is too expensive. So distribution is also important, and then payment, front end. If you are sitting in one country, how you can do the payment to another country? Is it again you have to go to the bank, you have to go fill the remittances form, and you need to do all the cost of the merchants or the banking providers, and how this payment front is working. So this is also, again, you need to connect with the different institutions, the new hardwares, the technologies, and other costs which you need to think to provide the services to your customers, like some of the institutions are doing. Yeah. So technology in use, we have also the devices. It is physical devices, applications, and communication channels, and authentication mode. Let me pick first the communication channel. In communication channels, we have different areas of communication. So local area network, which then we can say wide area network, internet portals, with the agents, extensions, services, e-wallet. However, the e-wallet of the mobile, the telcos which you are working. Mobile data also is a way of communication to directly to you or your institution. USSD. Let me explain what is USSD, because maybe some of you will be not aware about the USSD. USSD is actually unstructured supplementary service data. The USSD channel is actually the standard for which is physically available, controlled by the MNOs. So USSD applications are exchange information over these channels. It's like a menu. You open a menu and then you go to the first option, second option, and third option, and then it is actually user friendly. So it's a code actually for, suppose if you have to go right now the USSD channel of my institution, you just press the *246#, and then you will directly go to the menu of my institution, where you can apply a loan. You can directly inquire any of the information, product queries, or let's say communicate with the staff, or let's say to connect with the institution's data. So it is actually the USSD is like a menu. Is like a, you want to buy a pizza, so you want to go on the USSD menu of something, and then you have selected the pizza, and then you have went through the data. And then again, we have the SMS also, which is most of the institutions and telcos are using. It is actually connected with your CBS and the telcos, and then it goes directly to the customers. But again, it is also required a number of authentications or services, which is actually important for the institution. Then also the IVR, in interactive voice response. It's a computer application, which is the voice recognition, that it recognizes your voice, and then again it gives you the keyboard tone, and then you interact with the phone call or the customer service providers, or let's say the services which you need from the so it is actually basically the IVR is more of illiterate person or the low literate people who can actually primarily use the the services. They can't type. They don't want to type the keyboard. They don't want to use the text because they don't know how to use it. So they actually go and they talk on the IVR, and then they get the response. It's more used in Latin America and also in Asia. The IVR is more used in these two continents. And yeah, so mobile devices is the first, actually the physical devices. You see there are three type of devices which you can use. Is basic, features, and smart. The basic is actually the basic phone without any internet or services, only the USSD capability but no data and GPRS capabilities. Featured phone, most of the African institutions are working on featured phone, is actually a low internet connections you can do, and also the mobile applications, you can enjoy the mobile applications and the data connectivity. Smartphones, you all know what the smartphones, maybe you are right now connected also from your smartphones through the internet access. So the smart applications which people are working now. Most of the financial service providers, what they did in a smartphone, using the smartphone, they have the app. I don't know if it came in your country or not, but in Africa it is very common. It is actually embedded in your chat, like WhatsApp messengers and all that. So if you are in the WhatsApp, so directly you can go to your bank over there, or financial service provider, whatever, that's bank, microfinance, or insurance, or whatever, and then you can go over there. You can touch, let's say, the icon of the institutions, the app of the institution on WhatsApp actually, and then you will see your balances. Directly you can do the payments. You can directly do the any of the transactions from there. So it is the new services which people are bringing. The apps and all that. So it is actually the physical devices or physical phones are actually working. Most of the institutions, as I said before, and they also have the chat box or chatbot, and most of the illiterate people, they know how to use WhatsApp, but they don't type on WhatsApp, but actually they can send the voice messages, and then institutions actually respond to them through chat box or machine learning. This is how actually the mobile devices and communications are working on this particular area. Authentications of the modes is like very important, is because services and security is very important. So PIN, password, two steps authentication, biometrics, these are the areas of authentication modes which you need to log in. Your username and your password should not be user admin, and password should be also admin. So there's a different kind of pins, which is actually the requirement of the institution, because people actually don't pay for this. There's a wonderful video which was on LinkedIn, that if people have asked what is your password, they always says my password is my name, first name, and my date of birth is my username is actually my name, and the password is actually my date of birth. So So people actually don't prefer to put the strong password, but it is an institution who has the responsibility to guide their customers on the PIN and the password setups. Application of the new technology in financial services. If you see, these are the areas which people are using. They are using on the DLS, DTLS. It's actually in most of the institutions like lending, like banks, financial institutions, insurance, security. They are using these technologies in the applications, different services. So biometric is basically used in the security and insurance, but it can be also used, let's say, in lending facilities, or also in the cloud computing. You see most of the lenders, the financial service providers are using the cloud computing services. Yeah, so again, the key question here is, when selecting technology and or the vendor, do you vet them properly? You really think that these are the key vendors which I want from a DFS? We really need to analyze the vendor very carefully. If we are not very clear or comprehensive, then again we will face the huge risk, you know. And this is again another area where most of the institutions fail to mitigate the key risk. And remember, your partner's systems can be hacked by someone, and they can be create fake IDs, data leakages, and etc. But your customer don't remember who is your partner. They don't know who is your partner. They always know you, and you will be again in the bad image, or your brand image will be spoiled in the market. So if it is one time brand image is spoiled, there are a number of institutions. I can even give the examples now. If their first brand image is actually spoiled, then you can't create again. The people will be not having the confidence in you, or using your services. So it is very important when selecting the partners, when selecting the vendors, is when selecting the technology, and what are the requirement, what will be the hardware requirement, how I will test, what will be the training I need, what is the installations I need required to go on the live. And after also going on live, there is always a challenge, the maintenance and the review post, and all that. So it's a very important to understand. So this is the next slide which I will present, that how to source the vendors. If you see, the first three elements are considered as internal to provide internal areas. Cost control and compliance is actually your internal matter. The bottom three are actually considered as an with respect to the vendors, basically seeking to establish its capabilities like coverage, character, and continuity. So when sourcing the vendor or partner, the key points which you need to consider, that is the contract or MOU with the partner or technology provider includes protections, contingency plan, and all that. Is the service level agreement SLAs are clearly articulated based on the service we need? Is there a realistic, measurable, technical services level which we really need on the services provider from the third-party service providers? So these are the areas which you need to think. The characters, the controls from your side. What will be the control? It's not like all the vendors is controlling you. Cost is so important. Purchasing elephant is very important. It's very maybe easy, but again, feeding that an elephant day to day will be very hard. So again, the cost, is it in your budget? Is your budget allows you? Is the shareholder agree on the cost which you are going in the new direction, the technologies and the areas? Definitely, it will long term. It will benefit you. But again, do your budgets allow that? This is a cost you can afford. And if you are doing this again, then vendor select and sourcing is most important. So remember, when you see the demo, the vendors always give the wonderful demo, because they came to sell something to you. So once they give you the demo, don't just say, oh, this technology wow me, wonderful, I like this. This is how the customer should be created, and this is how the customer should be served. And so the point here is, the research also says these are the many institutions, and most of them have actually faced the challenges in the systems and technologies. If you deploy one CBS, the core banking system, or any system in your institution for insurance, microfinance, or banking, it takes around 15 months to deploy within your data or to merge your data. And if you're doing that 15-month exercise, and at the end of the month, 16 month, you say, no, this system, I don't think so it will work, and you are changing again. So I think this is mainly you are your customers will suffer, and your shareholders will suffer, and largely you also, because you are working as a team on these areas. So these are the systems which you need to really outsource, and what are the systems which you need to work on that area. API, application programming interface. These are the very common terms which most of the people are using. So what is API? API is actually the user interface. It is the user interfaces which is humanly being used in the software application. API allows to create with the different machines or different systems. They actually connect with different areas, and then it talks to each other, and then they can provide the services. There is an example you can read afterwards also. But let me give you another example of Google Map here. You see, in the API of the Google Map, it gives the third-party developer the build blocks that make it simple to embed it, in the Google Map and their own web page. Like you see, maybe you have seen in the Uber or Grab or any other taxi services which you have ever experienced in your application. So it's a similar like Google App, but it is actually working in Uber also. So it's an API connected between Uber and with the Google Map. So it is actually one API which is connected on the same day. So it's the same like you connect your USSD. I told you USSD before. You connect your SMS service, you connect your applications, you connect your agents, and then through API you work on the different areas of the system. So even now the payments and disbursements are also connected through APIs with the different servers, with the different data source, with the different requests, and it's also one systems have connected number of APIs. If you talk about my system right now, it's around 25 to 30 APIs are connected within my system, whatever we are using right now. So it is a different. Your system should be also able to connect the APIs, but the monitoring of the APIs is very important because the third-party provider services which is connected with your database, and it cannot be it should not be pulling your data. It should be not pushing your data. It should be only giving you the services. It's only pull and push should be very critical on the areas what information you need. For example, if you are connected with one of the service provider like telecoms, and they are pushing your data, so then the data can be pushed. Your services or your customers' data can be used over there also. So it is the agreement. If it is agreement, it's fine. If it is agreed with your customers also that okay, the data will be over there, then it is fine. But again, it should be secured way to connect the data and also the APIs. So there are a number of different types of application that might be developed by the third party through API, and these might require the API for account information or payments or both from the different service providers. So I will not discuss these points one by one. But maybe the second last point, which also says the application which is very fast to process the the loan processes by the organizations. So this is how it is working. If you just like M-Pesa, M-Pesa, maybe you are aware, mobile Pesa is a Swahili word Pesa. So Pesa link and one link, or you just click and the money reach to the customer's account. Let me ask you, if you are in the lending business like banks, insurance, or microfinance, what is your turnaround time, right? What is your TAT of disbursement? If your answer is that my turnaround time is 24 hours or 48 or 72 hours, again, if your answer is this, then you are not facilitating your customers with the new technology, or maybe you have a long process, maybe you have a long legal requirement also. That's why you are doing it. But again, right now the customers' needs are changing day by day. Now customers need not by after 2 days or 3 days or after 5 days or after a week, or let's say after 10 days I will get my money. They need actually within minutes or within hours. So actually the quick and the scale up of your systems and technology is more important. It is actually teaching or reaching to the untouched people, and to the unserved people, and increasing your outreach. Definitely. So you can read these points also, which is you see the third point is also how the Amazon on one-click payments options are working, and the credit card options are also working in the different payment third-party providers. Again, what technologies are used remotely. Some people actually ask in my sessions. Definitely, people always ask from me that Fahim, you always says DFS. What is this DFS? Does DFS, can my system talk remotely, or it will be in-house, or how it will work. People are confused. As I said in the start of my presentation, that board and the CEOs are always confused about this DFS. So DFS can be accessed remotely. It's the service providers who have to do remotely access methods, that is being suited to the access service, to the market, that they can operate in the different account and literacy level. So if you see the SDK here, is actually also the SIM toolkit, the SIM-based remote access technology, which is DFS providers are now providing it. It's actually, you talk to the institutions through the basic and features phone in the range, wherever you have to talk with the different modules of the services. And then again, the Java-based features phone applications, technically also the small Java apps, which are installed on your capable phones, either via the Bluetooth or OTA, using VAP. And then again, these methods are actually the principles of to the smart phones app, but again, running on the less sophisticated type of handsets, on operating systems. NFC, where most of the banks are using it, is like through the credit card and the chip and the antenna, which is actually on your card, which is most of the POS, the point of service people are using it. But you need to bring that physical wallet, or let's say the card, over there. QR is actually, quick response QR codes is actually now, it is now running in most of the in China or Japan or in Korea. If you see, this is actually how they are operating in QR. They have the QR in their code and their mobile, or somewhere else, and then once they go, they just connect to the QR over there to the payment counter. Let's say, for suppose the market, and then they just scan it, and then again the payment is done. So this is how the working thin SIM. This is actually the new technology in DFS, and this is the thin SIM technology in DFS is actually operating in most of the countries. Let me tell you what the thin SIM is. The thin SIM is also called strictly a small, SIM, and is relatively a new technology being used in DFS markets to address technology access in DFS, where MNO's coverage is not available. There are some rural areas, because you have to go to the rural areas, the untouched people, as we always say is in our mission and vision, the unserved people or the unbanked people. So this thin SIM technology is actually the plastic paper thing, is on top of your whatever the SIMs you have, and then it works literally the connect directly to the systems or the services of the institutions. So most of the institutions, like if you have the Orange or Airtel or Safaricom SIM, it will cover into the top of the that SIM, and then it will be a dual SIM phone will be working. Even if you do not have the dual SIM phone facility, but then it will work like a dual SIM phone over there. It will pop up with the application over there, and the two SIM cards will be working over there. So I'm sure that you must have the question in your mind, like which organizations are using thin SIM technology, and what are the examples. So Kenya Mobile Virtual Network Operators, Equitel, is the telecommunication arm of Equity Bank. They are using this thin SIM technology offered to the customers, which is very cheap, and cheaper than USSD or STK, because the USSD has a cost to the institution. So it is very cheap, and then they are using the MNO's Airtel with the short code of 247 hash, and then you can use the financial services, like you can send the money, you can acquire the loan, you can ask the loan, you can apply for the loan. So as a send money, receiving or paying bill, or whatever your services you can actually do that from the this thin SIM. In India, Yes Bank has also launched this thin SIM payment solution for the featured phone. Is actually not for the smartphones, actually for the featured phone. In the Kenya also it was a featured phone, and it is actually the sticky SIM, which is from working with the SDK based applications, which is prepared on the stores and the link. And yeah, so also there are a number of other examples. I don't want to go on that, but again, this thin SIM technology is new, and it is actually working more in the market. I think the time is running very fast. So this mobile phone user interface is actually the user interface which is used in DFS. If you see the sound-based technology, text-based technology, and the graphic interface that most of the financial institutions are using. Some of them I've already discussed, like IVR and the voice channel NSDS, or let's say the USSD, or let's say the graphic, how the Java app are working. Yeah, so there are two options to obtain the services. Either you build your own software, your own services, as in software as a service for the DFS, or you obtain as a rent. From the existing rent from the existing vendor. So this is actually the pros and cons. There's disadvantages and advantages, which you can read afterwards. It is very important to whatever decision you take, you need to you need to take the decision first and reading this skills that what need to be done in that area. Yeah, this is actually the hosting of the options. You have three options, like you can in-house, you can external data, or let's say the cloud, and then how it is working on your institution. Yeah, Ida, we can start the poll. I think we have still time. Maybe we can do the quick poll.
Yes, so quick and dirty poll number 2. So the question is, what are the main obstacles for providing digital financial services? And the options are lack of digital technology implementation, missing access to customer database, lack of innovation culture in the institution, or lack of funding in the institution. So we will launch the poll now, and you have about 10 seconds to select your preferred answers. Okay, so the votes are in. We are closing the poll and showing the results now.
The lack of innovation culture, so this is the key area where the innovation culture is not there. And innovation culture, it's not from the IT, it's people think once they bring the DFS, that they think that implementation of the DFS should be from the IT. It's not from the IT. It's actually the strategy from your business. It starts with your business operations. It starts with your risk people. It starts with your credit domain. It starts with your compliance people. So it's not like only the IT people who are should be innovative so that they can bring the innovation of the culture. It should be the all people. So lack of digital technology implementation is also one of the area which people have highlighted, and I really agree with them on these 2 points. Slide, Friday. Yeah. So again, the key question again here is the product implementation. The technology implementation. What framework I should implement in this technology? So there are two kind of major product implementation. One is actually the waterfall model. It is actually the straight liner. You see requirement, design, implementation, testing, installation, and maintenance. So it's a straight way, and is also the old-fashioned model. Waterfall module, which is actually straight. You go and you start the requirement, you design, and then you implement, and then afterwards you install and then you do the installation. But it is another framework also came, which is the V-shaped module, which is agile, let's say, software development. This one of the avoids the liner, is actually a sequential approach in favor of your incremental interactive way of doing the implementing the systems, which is most important. Most of the institutions should actually should deploy this V-shaped model rather than waterfall model, because waterfall model is very straight. If you need to just change a simple thing, like suppose you need to add the client phone number in your CBS, then you can use the waterfall. But if you are deploying a DFS like a big service, then V-shaped model is definitely work. Like what is your project, what is your production, how it will maintain, what will be your IT, infrastructure, how it will work in the integration, and then coding and all that. So this is actually the new area where people are implementing this V-shaped module. So implementation framework is too important before you go live to any of the providers. This slides again talks on the product implementation for the high availability. You have connected number of systems with your servers. So definitely this will be a risk for you. So if it's one side, if it is off, then again you cannot provide the service to the institution. So ensure all changes are well tested, ensure the proper training and communications are done, ensure that they are working well from your side and the partner side both. And RPO and RTO, the BCC, the BCP, business continuity management should be very well tested before you go live. Again, the data, we have already talked too much on the data, but the data development product is too important for us, and then how it is working. So advantages of the data is actually too much. The old model was that you source the data, you extract the data from your CPS, then you convert in the data analytics format, and then you obtain the information, which is sourcing the data, let's say from your record, from your data warehouse, taking too long. But now the new model is actually source the data very quickly, from BIs, from AIs, business intelligence or artificial intelligence, convert the data in the format of analysis, whatever you want, and exactly the data information comes. So again, as I said before, your data should give you the new product, design of the new product. Your data, if your data is not providing you the information what your customer need, then the data is, let's say, not the data which you want for the customer. So the data should be from the customer centricity point of view, and it should connect, using the multiple data. Like it should be the center of the customer. It should provide you the different analytics and the organizational intelligence, what the organization want, what the organization is going, how it will be going, what will be the adjustment they need to do from the data which they have. And these are the areas of the DFS. Once you will deploy the DFS, the number of customers will onboard in your system. But how you will manage that customers, that's the most important. Because if the customer will not enjoy the services what you are providing them, they will go to the another institution. So these are the areas which you really need to think on data. I will not talk more on this slide. I think we have another session on the same area, so I will talk more. But this is actually the MNOs and financial institutions and the data analytics firms, their roles and the examples. This is also a basis of adoption. Most of the institutions, they think that, okay, let me bring the DFS or the data technology. But again, they think that it is only a responsibility of IT. Let me tell you, the data or the IT or the DFS is not the IT problem now. It is now the overall business strategy. It should be the process, people, the skills should be changed. Once I say change, it doesn't mean that you need to change all your senior management team. You need to bring the change in your culture, the mindset of the people, the new business model, include the skills people over there so that they can help you in DFS. This is, you see that most of the availability financial services across the segment, how they are working is should be end to end, and then it should be working with your business model, how it is connect, starting from one angle to go to the another angle, connected with the different APIs, credit scoring, payment collections, sellings, collection disbursements. So this is how your business model should look like in the area of DFS. So in a nutshell, actually, it's a customer need. You need to see that what your customer need from your DFS. It's a critical technology component which you need to think that these are the appropriate delivery channels which I need for my audience, for my customers. You need to do the market assessment before you go for the existing technology or for the new technology. What are the available data, investment opportunities you have, and how you can, you can take out from that data, and then you can work for the customers, and then again the DFS services provider. So I want to give, let's say, I know Ida and Donna, I think I've crossed my time, but I want to give, let's say, some of the assignment to all of you. That you can do the research, on the DFS. List the various DFS players in the market. How many DFS players you have in the market? From that, which services I can onboard to foster my business model, which I can bring in my business model. and what challenges I will face if I will bring that one, and how it will be easy for my company, for adoption of my company, and then how I can bring the technology which will increase my access to the outreach of the customers. Will it really help me? Will my customer understand this or not? And what will be the key risk I will face, and existing, and what will be the mitigation if I will face this risk? And again, then it will open your mind to adopt the new services and the DFS technology. So yeah, so we have some resources here. After resources, I think I will go on questions. We have some resources here. The first resource actually is a article which I wrote on LinkedIn. The sum of the element which is missed in this session, you can go over there. You can even review what is the DFS technology overview and the digital financial services, and the last session also which we have conducted in the risk management in DFS. Yeah, so back to you, Ida and Donna.
Thank you, Fahim. That was a great, great presentation. We do have some questions, so I'm going to go right into them. The first one is regarding alternative payment structures processes. And the person is asking your experience for countries, maybe in Africa, you can explain, it says, especially in Africa, whereas the countries that don't go country to country payments and that don't have alternative payment process like SWIFT, and specifically in Africa, how is that being dealt? On your
Yeah, this is recently we have also shared one of the experience in University of Cambridge. Over there we were invited, and we have shared that how the alternative payments you work. If we are in Kenya and we have the institution in Tanzania or in other East African countries, so how we can disburse the loan from here and then customer will reach and will get the payment over there. So this is actually the alternative payments. The most of the customers which we are serving is they are unbanked people. They are unserved people. They don't have the bank account. And even if they have the bank account, if I want to do a remittance today, I'm in the one of the rural area, and in my rural area I don't have the bank. So how I can use my institution where I have, let's say, the somehow a connection of the payments, some of the relationship of loans and disbursements. So how I can use that channel and disburse or do the remittance from here, and my family member get the remittance in TZ in Tanzania. So alternative payment, is actually working very well. Different between using the telcos, using the MNO services, using the different alternative channels is actually, giving away the SWIFT, the reconciliations items, the long period of the days which you need to wait. So it is bringing now new challenges in Africa, especially, and then customers are enjoying. So we are also adopting that services, and most of our customers are actually enjoying the services and the alternative payment solutions.
Great, thank you, Paim. Another question came in regarding critical data security. So the question is regarding fingerprints versus like iris recognition. And the question is that, well, the person first states that they think that fingerprint can be easily extracted, and does not think it's secure. And wants your opinion regarding, like, should they follow more an iris recognition by using strong algorithm like back propagation? That's a big sentence. I'm not sure I understand that part. But do you have any opinions regarding fingerprinting? Because it's getting to be used more and more.
It's not only the fingerprints. It's actually, I think the customer is asking, the audience is asking about the data security, more on the fingerprints and also the other data. So the data security is too important for all institutions, as we have talked earlier. So the data security is not only for the fingerprints. Actually can be used for any other information. Even your email ID, even your account number, even your ID number, even your the national ID number. So that's the data securities which institutions have to focus. Most of the institutions, they deploy the DFS, but they don't focus on the securities. So the securities are the key elements, especially on the areas where you are going on the cloud computing, you are going on the rented services, or you are connected with the third-party providers. So your data security should be the first key element to discuss before you bring any new services in your institution. And there's a long session of data security. Maybe we can organize one session on data security also.
Yeah, I think that would be very pertinent these days. I have another question regarding vendor sourcing. It seems that the participants said that their financial institution did not have a good experience. And I would like to know your experience or Masani's experience, and if you had any lessons learned that you can share with vendor sourcing.
As I said before, the vendor sourcing is actually not the one person's decision, it's actually the institution's decisions, you know. So once you source any vendor for any services, even for the SMS, you know, the small services like SMS, so you need to identify that what the vendor services are providing. The first key area is actually the agreement between you and the services. So most of the institutions, they don't put or they don't include the key people in that vendors are sourcing, like risk department. They don't include internal audit. They don't include the people who are from compliance or from internal control. The business, or let's say CEO, or even the top executives, they just sign the contracts, you know, without going more on litigation. Actually, the vendors contracts is designed by the vendors and not by the institutions. They just have to sign at the end that, okay, these are the terms and conditions, but they don't add their terms and condition. What are the KPIs of the vendor sourcing? So the vendor sourcing is actually a wonderful area of looking all the risk of the areas and the compliance of the vendor which you select before you onboard any vendor. And if it is if it is some of the area where you are feeling, you know, challenges with the vendor or the third party provider or your partners, then again you go back to the SLA. And most of the institutions, once they go back to the SLA, they say, oh, it's not in the SLA. So, you know, if it is not in the SLA, the third party provider will say, I'm sorry, I can't give you these services. You know, one of the institution I remember, they have deployed one of the good core banking system. I will not take that name of the institution and the core banking system, but it was a wonderful core banking system. But they have to just put a small area of KYC, you know, or let's say the AML. And then they ask the vendor, can you put this KYC and ML? We actually missed that one to include in our systems, and the cost was around $30,000, and they have not budgeted that amount in their cost in their financial forecast. So they were waiting for that, and then the regulator have hit them hard. They penalized them more amount from the 30,000. So my point here is that whenever you are sourcing a vendor, then you need to identify the SLA very clearly before you go on signing the agreements.
Excellent point, because I've also seen that recently with a financial institution I worked with a new lending core banking system that didn't ask for a reporting, some specific reporting parts, and it ended up being additionally tens of thousands additional funds. So what I hear from you for that is there should be a committee deciding on this, one, and then two, make sure you have the deliverables and KPIs are well thought out.
Yeah, yeah. You have to work on this product implementation framework. You know, that's what I said. The V-shaped product implementation framework. It's not like you design your implementation, what is your requirement, and then you go on implementation. You should be on the V-shaped. You should be production. What is the requirement? What will be this? What will be that? You know, how it will be tested? Who will be testing? Who will be the committee? It should be like a V-shaped working structure.
Yeah, excellent. Okay, I think we're going to have to end. We've gone a little bit over time. I want to thank you. And next slide, we are going to have another digital and credit. This is actually going to be with Aida, Fahim, and I will develop this together because we also work on digital credit. It'll be in October 19th, and we're really going to talk about concerns and share some insights into these new trends seeing digital lending, because I know Fahim and Aida are seeing it everywhere. So that'll be in October. And then we just want to thank you. And there'll be a survey at the end. Again, at the end, when you click off of the go-to menu, we'd appreciate it. If you have any topics you'd like to be discussed, please recommend. Again, Fahim, thank you for a very interesting session, and we wish you a good day. Thank you.
Thank you.